The process of turning your daily spends into rewards is very similar to how bees make honey. Bees go from flower to obtain some nectar, then they'll bring it back to the hive, and as they gather more and more nectar, it'll eventually be turned into honey. In this case, you're the bee. The nectar is the points you earn hopping from flower to flower, or from bank to bank, signing up for different cards and maximizing the bonuses and earning rates. And finally, the honey is the Singapore Airlines Suites class ticket you booked, or that free stay at the St. Regis Maldives that you earned after collecting all that sweet nectar in the form of your points for so many years. But look out, in all our talk about bees and flowers, there's actually a pesticide looming over us that threatens to get rid of all your nectar, and in turn, your dream vacation. Thanks to some recent legislation surrounding credit card rewards, all those miles and points you've earned may be under attack.
But have you ever thought about how much credit cards cost businesses?
In a day when travel's so expensive, and take away choice from the consumer and give it in the hands of the retailer.
And these fees are one of the biggest expenses. And the smaller the merchant, the higher that fee is.
So should you be worried? Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore in this video. Now, before we dive into the threat at hand, we first need to answer an important question. Why are governments choosing now to act against banks, issuers, and credit card networks? Well, there are a variety of reasons, but the main issue has to do with the lifeblood of all credit card rewards programs. When you buy something with a credit card, you're essentially borrowing money from the bank. So in order to make sure that the payment is actually processed, there's a lot of back and forth required to verify the transaction and make sure that the merchant gets paid. Think of this complex payment network like the roots of the flowers buried deep inside the ground. We don't see these roots on the surface, but they're what keep our rewards and all these flowers and nectar going. Now, all of this back and forth doesn't happen for free, and that's why interchange fees are applied to every credit card transaction you make. But interchange fees aren't just used to maintain the credit card network. This fee is also used by your card issuer to fund rewards programs. After all, flowers can't make nectar without the right conditions. They need water and nutrients. Likewise, the credit card companies can't just give away cash or award flights without a source of finance. These interchange fees typically range from 1.5 to 2.5% of your total purchase price. However, the exact number depends on the type of credit card you're paying with, and Visa, MasterCard, and American Express all have their own rates. Also, the more premium your credit card is, the higher the interchange fee will be. Basically, the more nectar you take, the more water and nutrients the flower needs in order to give you what you want. So next time you pay with a World Elite MasterCard, a Visa Infinite Privilege card, or any American Express card, just know that these credit card networks are taking a larger chunk out of a merchant's sales compared to paying with a no-fee card or a lower-end card. And now you're probably thinking, 2.5%? That doesn't sound like much. Seems like a pretty small price to pay for having a rewards program. Well, here's the thing. You haven't been paying for those fees. That's right, the nectar you need for your dream first-class flight is made possible by business owners and merchants who are forced to pay that 2.5% interchange fee on their end. And while 2.5% might not sound like much to the average consumer, losing that amount on a consistent basis can really take a bite out of a company's bottom line. Interchange fees are one of the main reasons why mom and pop shops tend to try and lure customers away from paying with credit cards, such as offering a small discount when you pay in cash. And it's also why these smaller stores tend to not accept American Express and usually ask for Visa or MasterCard only, or in some cases, debit card and cash only. Now, merchants have been dealing with the pain of interchange fees for decades, and with an unfortunate mix of rising inflation and a post-pandemic economy, merchants are sick and tired of having to front the bill for rewards-hungry customers, and have lobbied the government to create this pesticide that puts all our rewards points under threat. Over the last few years, the Canadian Federation of Independent Businesses have launched a class action lawsuit against Visa and MasterCard Canada, as well as some of the major banks, including RBC, BMO, Scotiabank, and National Bank. In the lawsuit, Visa and MasterCard are accused of restricting a merchant's ability to refuse premium credit cards at their stores, as well as merchants' ability to charge customers a fee for paying with credit cards that have higher rewards. And after years of litigation, MasterCard and Visa actually ended up settling the lawsuit. And in October 2022, Canadian merchants, except those in Quebec, because they always have good consumer protections over there, were given the ability to pass the interchange fees on to the customer. This means that if you're trying to pay for a premium credit card at your local coffee shop as an enthusiastic rewards collecting bee, you're gonna have to offer more than just pollen. Instead, the merchants can now pass the cost of maintaining these rewards programs to you in the form of a surcharge. So instead of a bee getting nectar from a pretty flower, these surcharges can turn merchants into a kind of Venus flytrap that eats bees like you thanks to those extra fees. Now, over in the United States, class action lawsuits have also been raised against Visa and MasterCard, which similarly accuse them of restricting merchants' abilities to accept or deny certain types of credit cards. As of now, no meaningful laws have been established from these lawsuits just yet, but that could change in the coming years. And when that happens, it's likely that those extra fees passed on to consumers might dissuade shoppers from applying for premium credit cards, and instead we might see a wave of new credit card holders in North America who prefer no annual fee cards in order to avoid these premium surcharges. And if enough people opt out of earning miles and points on these higher tier cards, there will eventually be no reason for banks to keep these programs running. So the question is, have spending habits changed since the legislation came into effect in October 2022 in Canada? Are we points collecting bees still safe, or have our numbers been dying off? As it stands, yes, we're safe for now. Turns out that the pesticide we've been talking about is less of a noxious gas and instead more of a spray of Febreze in the wind. It stings if you smell it for too long, but it doesn't really do you any harm. Since October 2022, only a handful of merchants in Canada have really implemented the new surcharge fee. Various coffee shops and smaller businesses have expressed interest in doing so, hoping to incentivize consumers to use cheaper forms of payment like debit cards or cash. But on the other hand, there are still plenty of businesses across the country who are on the fence and who are scared of losing customers to the credit card surcharge. In fact, TELUS is actually a great example of this. Back in October, TELUS started charging its customers a 1.5% surcharge for any bills paid using credit cards. But in June 2023, TELUS actually silently reversed their decision and removed the extra surcharge in order to address customer complaints. That really shows them what they're in for being greedy in the first place. Now, if you're buying something from a business that has implemented the surcharge, you'll only be paying a maximum of 2.4% the total price of your purchase. And honestly, most people aren't going to be bothered having to pay an extra 12 cents on their $5 iced latte, but it's really the principle of it at the end of the day. So back to the question at hand. Is this the end of credit card rewards programs as we know it? Will the honey pot remain empty forever? No, your points are safe for now. After all, Canadians are among the most active loyalty program participants among any country in the world. Racking up points and redeeming them for travel is heavily ingrained in North American spending culture, and it's going to take more than a 2.5% surcharge to lure enough people away from their points programs. One day though, there could come a time when all these rewards programs come crashing down, especially with the nectar getting less and less fresh over time, given all the points devaluations creeping in throughout the year. So if you're a baby bee who's just starting to buzz around in the rewards game, you'll absolutely want to learn how to start earning and redeeming points to maximum effect as soon as possible. So make sure to check out this video next on the 6 best credit cards that can help you turn all the nectar you collect into some sweet, sweet redemptions.